I am a temple who walks the earth. My womb is fertile for giving birth. I am a woman planted in truth. I grow my branches from sacred roots. You are the form of who you wanna be. So come untethered, your soul is free. We're here to heal, we're here to thrive. We are a dream who's come alive. We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An evolution for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. 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 For God's sake.
And so it is. Hello, Essence. This is Jody England, and you are listening to Wild Soul Medicine Radio. So here we are in this clarity in the mist. Last week was such a... What was last week? Potent, mystical, magical, confusing, illuminating, igniting, activating, beautiful on so many levels, and also really an expression of the willingness to be undone in a moment. And in the undoneness, perhaps catalyzing an undoing that needed to happen in you. And what occurred for me on the heels of that was, it was really in the midst of such an unfolding around discovering who I am, and it's so funny because that's my lifelong exploration, right? It's my work, it's my practice, it is what I am and what I do. And I would say I know myself better than most, and yet continuously am uncovering more mystery and more revelation. And so that was happening. And in the midst of all of that, there was more that needed to unravel. And so I spent the next 4 or 5 days kind of wrestling with the expansion and the beauty of what had shown up, and also this edginess around, like, there's one more piece. There's something else that's not all the way complete. That's not complete for now even. And so I, was interesting because I was in the midst also of, we have been planning to reopen the portal for soulful money medicine. Reopen the portal for soulful money medicine. And we've been really loving that process. And so, there was this like old paradigm part of me that's like, I need to be present for that and I need to be participating in it. And then there was the soul part that was like, I need to go in, I need to go in and get this piece. Like, that's the only thing that actually matters. And so I honored that, and I'm lucky enough to be creating a team that also honors that, even when, the plans say something else, and when everyone's been working toward a certain outcome, and then the captain of the ship says, see ya, I'm going inward for as long as it takes. And they're like, okay, see you when you come out. And so I did. So on Monday, I went deeply inward by myself, and it was really, it was the peace that all of those star alignments had been calling forth for me. And it occurred when it occurred, which was Monday. And it's like, I don't even know really what to share about that. Particularly, I'm trying to feel into what even translates. But I think the piece, the theme that I want to share is it was an experience of being shown the places where I was still holding dichotomy in my system. You know, the places where either or were still reigning on the deepest levels, right? And an example of that was being shown this idea of surrender, right? So we all know and are told that we need to surrender, and that is the enlightened thing to do. And yet I was in this space of witnessing all of these lifetimes I've had where my mantra was never surrender, right? And it was important. Things were riding on me not surrendering. And so when I went into the space to see, like, I was kind of pissed off, you know, I was like, I don't know if I want to surrender. I don't, you know, it feels like it negates what all of this was. And so I don't know how to surrender without doing that. And so I really just sat with it, and I knelt at the altar of not surrendering, you know, and loved it and was with it and appreciated it. And of course, what I noticed is that I was surrendering to not surrendering, right? Surrendering to not surrendering, which of course is surrendering. You know, it was that kind of revelation for me, like every piece of it. There was a piece where I reclaimed these pieces of my soul and brought them all into myself. And when I did, there was a moment of ecstasy, and then there was a moment that after that felt like dying, you know, and it was a little underwhelming. And I thought, gosh, I thought having all of my pieces together would feel less like dying, you know? And then part of my soul said, I didn't come here to die. And then another part of my soul said, that's exactly why I came here. I came here to die over and over and over again in every moment, living on the crest of the wave of my becoming, letting go of any construct, of any hold of anything, but being willing to die and die and die and die, which of course is living. And so I really felt like I was at the center of this cross, you know, this crossroads, this powerful geometric force of pulling my parts in from all of the directions of the compass into this oneness, right? Where there was no other option but oneness. And then I came to this place of knowing that there was a fundamental piece of my soul that needed returned. And, you know, as a soul shaman, this is what I do for people. This is what I do for myself. And, you know, and there's this saying, like, you can't do surgery on yourself, right? So sometimes you need some help. And yet, you know, my guides were all pointing to, this is a journey I needed to take by myself. And so I was really in some despair about who will shaman my soul? Who will shaman my soul? And of course the music beautifully came in, and I was deep in that inquiry, right? Of who shamans whose soul and who should shaman mine. And then if I'm giving control to who would shaman it, would they be shamaning it, or would I be shamaning it, right? It was this whole loop of, like, again, dichotomy, other. And what I ended up beautifully arriving at was this space where my soul got shamaned because I decided it needed shamaned, and the music showed up to shaman it, which was also my music, but also was not me shamaning it, right? So it's like me, not me, not me, me, all one, you know? Profound. And then I discovered this sacred part of myself that I had cast off in my core wounding my starseed, my light. It wasn't safe here for it. And so I cast it off and protected it in a way that it could not be opened by me or anyone, is what it looked like. And so beautifully, I was guided to a woman that I'd been dreaming about, who's a deep soul sister of mine. And I called her and explained where I was. And she said, I can help you. And she took me right there. And as it turns out, I had perfectly arranged it so that she would show up. And when she showed up and did the thing, I would know it was safe. And so she opened it up and she found it, and she guided me through this gorgeous, gorgeous process of really being born in the womb of the earth and having my starseed placed back in my heart, and emerging in a wholeness and a peace and a love that I've been searching for. I've been searching for years and years and years. I would say for lifetimes and lifetimes. Really, it's the whole point, And I don't even know that I can speak to the vastness of the shift. And so I was feeling a little conflicted today because, I'm in such beingness and such love that words seem really slow and clumsy. And also there was this commitment, agreement, intention of offering soulful money medicine today. And I want to do that. And then so I woke up this morning and there was this, and I kind of wrestled with it throughout the night, and there was like a lot of energy moving. And so I woke up this morning and there was this like beautiful mystical fog outside my door and window, and it was just calling me out to the earth. And so I walked out on my sacred land and I laid down on this beautiful rock and was just being present with what is. And I was noticing this dichotomy, right? This dichotomy of giant soul expansion and this little itty bitty class called Soulful Money Medicine. And it's like, can I do the thing? Can I do this thing? Can I be authentic about, offering this portal open and yet it's so different than this giant space that I'm in right now. And I was puzzled and I sat with it and then I noticed the fog, right? That the fog actually has this way of being vast, like it's blanketing the whole horizon. And yet it's actually right up next to you. It's right up next to you. You can see the little particles. You can feel them touching your face. And what I got is, of course, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's not two different things. It's never this or that. Every dichotomy is an illusion. It's soulful money medicine, right? And, because of the swiftness with which I evolve, when I offered it, there was still in my own system a heavier component on the money piece of it. And now it's completely on the soul piece of it, right? And so it's like these downloads, they happen and it's almost like they outrun me, because actually I was looking back through what the course actually is. And, I actually said, this is a soul conversation with money as the portal, right? And it really is that. It really is that. And so all the ways I thought I was going to show up and talk to you about soulful money medicine today, I've just out-evolved. And so I'm showing up to talk to you in the language that I know and that currently resides in me and through me, and that is the language of soul. And so I just want to be here with you today. I want to be here with you in a soul conversation. I want to love you that way. And we will talk about soulful money medicine but through a framework of connection. This is not about you using me as a connection or trying to get where you need to go through me or by me. This is a connection of you with you, because your connection will have its own flavor. It will have its own journey. It will have its own, her story, you know? And so in a way, it's like, who will shaman your soul? And, you know, try as I might, I actually can't do it for you. And so the call is for you to connect with you, to decide if you are ready and willing to shaman your own soul, even though you have no fucking idea how to do that. Right? It's not a head thing. It's not a decision. It's not a, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to go through emotion. It's letting go of all of that, so that your own soul can step forward and say, I don't care if this makes sense. I don't care if I have an idea where it's going to go. It's none of those things. This is a date with me and my soul, and everything else comes behind that. And so from that place, it's like, you know, this soul conversation is not about whether or not you decide that soulful money medicine is the next step for you. This is you actually putting yourself on the path, moving out of just being a passive listener to my journey and putting a foot more firmly on the path of your journey. So I'm just going to invite you in right now. Invite you into yourself. If you could put down whatever you're doing, if you could stop multitasking, let your soul use my voice to reach you. Right? Do you see how that works? The permission comes from you, not me. And if your soul was going to whisper something in your ear, she might say, I love you. I long for you. I want to come home. And you could feel her loving you. You could feel her stroking the back of your heart. You could feel her patience, her reverence. You might also feel her impatience, her yearning, her desire to be free, her wisdom to be known. What if you could allow that to begin to melt the sharp corners of your ego, of your holding on, of your running away, of your busyness? What if you could begin to put aside those pieces that you might have thought were so important? The things you were sure needed to be done. What if you could allow yourself to begin to entertain the notion that the most important thing in your life, in your journey, on your path, is you being with your own soul, learning her language, sitting by the hearth of her fire, And again, this is not about me, but it's only from this place that you will know what steps you are being called to. It's a place beyond words. It's a place beyond influence. It is a place beyond fear and lack. This is where your wholeness resides, beloved. And it is here that I desire to meet you in love. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you. I see you. I see me in you, right? We are the same. This desire to get it right, to find our missing pieces, to make ourselves complete again. I see you. And it's confusing. It's confusing and frustrating to walk this path and not have a guidebook. And to not know, oh my gosh, to not know and not know and not know. To be cohabitating with an ego whose main purpose is to try to know everything all the time. It's tricky. It's tricky, this human incarnation, and it really does take some Herculean effort to make room for your self with a capital S. And one of the things that I've discovered is because it's so esoteric to find where our soul is and to get to her and to, begin to even find these pieces, right? That one of the easiest ways to do it is to use something else as a portal in, right? So relationship, which we've talked about, using our parenting, our spiritual partnerships, money, right? So a construct is also a portal because it's a belief system. And so it's in these dichotomies that we begin to see ourselves. So we see, yes, this, not this, right? And that is a step on the path to wholeness, is first even seeing where you are, right? It's like locating yourself on the compass. And then from there, we can begin to do the soul work to clean up these places where we're still holding ourselves as separate. And I will tell you that largely those places we are holding separate are hidden from us. They are in our subconscious, right? It's an easy concept to get that everything is one. It's a whole different thing to have an experience of that. And how does that happen? It happens piece by piece by piece, as you shaman your soul, as you say, this is my focus. Nothing is more important than this, right? As you make that connection with yourself, then you begin to pull in those things that serve your purpose with a capital P, right? Your larger purpose, which is not about what you're doing in the world. That has become very convoluted, right? So many coaches who are going to tell you what your purpose is or show you what your purpose is. Your purpose is to embody your soul. That's all of our purpose. Because from that space, you will offer some gifts in the world, but they are not going to be a so that. And anytime you focus on the so that before you've done the embodiment part, whatever you're offering will just be a copy of a copy of a copy. I know because I've done it, right? In this moment, I feel like for the first time ever, I got to the original, right? And I don't know that that's a finish line, right? Like, I mean, I could be sitting here a week from now or a year from now and say, oh yeah, that was a copy of a copy of a copy. So we just keep moving inward. We just keep moving inward and feeling what's so. No need for judgment, no need for making any steps before this one wrong. Right? It's like these are the breadcrumbs we're following to lead us back to ourselves. And so if you're new to joining us, Soulful Money Medicine came about actually several months ago when I was having a soul calling, right? My soul was saying, gosh, I feel really depressed about the fact that so many of my gorgeous, beautiful, shiny, golden sisters are broke. You know, and so they can't do the things they want to do. We can't play together. We can't take the adventures that we'd like to have. And it's frustrating, right? It's frustrating. And also it makes me feel a little depressed. And when I looked into the depression, it was like, it's depressing because not because money's the thing, but because I can sense that there's an incompletion of the soul, which is what is reflected in the money, right? So the reason they don't have money is because they're shiny, beautiful, golden souls who aren't actually meeting the world, right? There's a hiding. There's a lack of interfacing. You know, and we do it, right? We've had to do it for very good reasons. We've had to be in hiding. We've had to evolve in secret and in private. And what's being called forward now is us actually coming to the edge and saying, okay, how does my essence meet the world? What else is in the way of having those interactions? What is it I'm not seeing yet? Right? And this is not a mind thing. It's not, if you knew it, you would fix it. Right? You're smart. You're capable. You've done the things. This is not about being wrong. This is about a different kind of listening. It's a different kind of looking. It's a different kind of knowing, where we can use energy to actually access those subconscious things that are still keeping us separate from our soul. And so I came with some soul fire to the radio show one day and offered Soulful Money Medicine as a 6-week course. And it was truly an experience of just being the steward of this information. This does not come from my brain. This is not something I knew. It really was delivered class by class. I mean, sometimes with like a Pentecostal fire of, as it was being channeled through my mouth, me saying, oh my goddess, this is some awesome information. Like, I feel so glad to be entrusted with it, you know? And it is, it continues to amaze me. So there's the words and there's the energy exercises, right? And then there's the encoding and there's the concepts and there's the dimensionality and there's the transmission, right? So there's all of these levels that it's actually working at. And so, you know, I delivered the class, and what I had said the whole time, because many people were saying like, I want to do it, but I don't have time right now, or I don't have the money right now. And so will you offer it later? And I said, yeah, I'll totally do that. And then, you know, I just started evolving and doing my thing and didn't get around to actually doing that. So when Amrita came on board, you know, I just basically gave her the project and said like, hey, you know, if you want to put this out here, go ahead and do it. And I'm in support of it. So let me know what we need to do, right? We'll just do this little opening to let people know it's available now. And as she started to listen to the audios and feel into the depth of the work, you know, she really brought it more forward in my consciousness. Like, hey, this is something. This is something. And this conversation really has the potential to shift the evolutionary trajectory of the planet. It does. It does. Why? Not because I'm awesome, not because I say great things, but because this truly is a soul conversation through the portal of money, which is the thing that is the biggest stumbling block for nearly every soul on the planet, right? Because we all have to use money. and our very survival depends on it. So it's, in a way, it's like the gargoyle at the gate. It's the monster at the door, of our soul's evolution. And so instead of hiding from it and trying to do our soul evolution here in the background, hoping that at some point we'll leapfrog this money situation question, we meet the monster at the gate and we say, who are you? Why do you look like a monster? Whose construct is this? How can I take my power out of that? Right? This is one of the first classes we do. We talk about the whole system, right? The shadowiness of it. So it's not that our money system is great. It's full of shadows. And also, it could be full of light. And the more of us light workers who participate fully in it, the more light-filled it will become, right? So we use the current system as a means to an end to actually become more ourselves so that the system will become more of a reflection of ourselves. So we're really alchemizing these deep, deep ways that we are conditioned, that we've been conditioned to interact with money or hide from money or control money or fight with money or whatever your story is. We play with those. And it's so funny. I was laughing with my friend the other day about soulful money medicine because I said, I keep thinking that I can offer an entry-level program. And then what comes out of me ends up being something so deep that it's hard to place where the conversation actually is. And this is one of the things that I love the most about my soul, is that it is so multidimensional. And it's just who I am. And I love to love you that way. I love to love you that way. I really can't love you any other way because it's who I am. So if you're new on the scene, you absolutely will get some amazing nuggets from this. And if you are a wise soul who's already very successful in her practice, you will get some soul fire. You will get some soul fire from this experience. And everywhere in between, there's something in there for everyone. And, and it's interesting, right? Because as we do this evolutionary process, I'm always cautious of, is this ego or soul? And is there a way it can be more pure? And am I really connected to what this is? So I'm learning, about how can you market, right? I'm saying market in quotes because we're really playing with these terms around here. How could you market a soul expression so that it doesn't become perverted or disconnected, right? And it's curious because there's a point where it's actually, it's kind of like last week, right, on the radio show, where if I don't talk about how potent and powerful this offering is, that would be my ego, right? Because my ego would be the one saying don't act like you're all that and don't be too shiny and watch out, and my soul is like, hells yeah, we just got some download here, sister. And this is must listening for your ears, and your cells and your DNA and every dimensionality that you can call forth. Right? So, what else is there to say? So my desire is I want you to have your own experience with it. And we have carefully crafted the portal such that it doesn't require me translating for you. It's at soulfulmoneymedicine.com. There are transmissions throughout. So there are, audios from each of the classes you can listen to. There's energetics built into the coding of the page, and it's really a whole experience in and of itself. And really everything that I do, we are embodying this feminine new paradigm where, the old way is let's create something and then let's create a false front and then a false front and a false front. So we have this cool program and then let's create an email to get you to a call to talk about the thing. And we're now like 5 steps removed from what the thing actually is, right? And what we're doing here is actually always moving deeper and deeper into the thing, right? So there isn't going to be a separate call where I talk all about soulful money medicine and what the details are and why you should buy it. That would be immediately out of alignment with what we're teaching. So my desire is for you to have an experience of letting an activation occur if there's one here for you. And then if you feel activated, to shaman your soul with whatever action you take next. I have no attachment to what that is. So, you might have an activation at the Soulful Money Medicine page and then go sign up with your web designer or go have a talk with your husband. I have no idea what that would look like. And for those of you who have an activation to be here in this conversation, I'm honored. I'm honored to walk with you. And we had actually about 100 women who went through the first time, and they have all been, they've still been together in a Facebook group. And what we discovered, as we neared the end of the first round was like, okay, you definitely are going to need to listen to this over and over. And so what came through was a recommendation to do the class again a total of 3 times. And so many of them are on their second round or just beginning their third round. So there are already some sisters in there that have some experience with the material. And, what's so beautiful about it is it truly is a soul conversation, because I keep saying, it's not about the money. So I don't know. I don't know if you're going to actually make money or not, but that's not really my point or my concern. We're using money to see some stuff about your soul. And, just depending on where your soul is at, it might take you a while to actually see a result in your money. But all the while your soul is getting more and more whole. So this is not one of those fake classes where we use the word soul to just mean buy this program. We really are actually shamaning your soul here. You are shamaning your soul here. And so, that said, the women who are in this conversation are so wise, because some of them went backwards. Some of them went backwards in their money and found that they were actually, it's like they weren't even perplexed. They were like, well, I went backward and I feel amazing. So I'm really curious as I do round 2 to see what will happen next, because it's that, right? It's your soul just wants to be whole. And then there are some amazing stories, right? There's some amazing stories of, a woman who does channeled soul paintings, which she had just started doing. And she had a very lucrative practice before that. And then in something else as a doctor. And then she started doing these channeled soul paintings, which was a complete departure for her, a very spiritual calling in alignment with her soul. And she wasn't making much money. And she went through the first round and right after finishing the first round, sold a painting for $5,000. We had a woman who, she's in the category that I call financially rich and soul poor, right? So corporate job, lots of, has come from a corporate job, lots of structure around, but had been really running from her money and not really managing it or watching it. And when we did an exercise around creating safety and security in our root chakra, which is really the foundation where all of your grounding for letting money find you happens, we shortly after that, she said, I finally took this call from this retirement guy from my old job who's been calling me for a year. And I finally took the call, and actually I have like $100,000 in this account that he just wanted to know what he should do with. She's been literally running from $100,000, right? So many, many miracles on every level, large and small. And again, the reason those financial numbers are exciting is because they're a reflection of someone coming into alignment with their truth. right? There's a way that they begin to legitimize who they are and let that interface with the world. And then the money just becomes a reflection of that, you know? So in a way, this is an entry-level course on money. There are many, many more classes that I could offer and probably will at some point. And also there's plenty here to keep you busy for a very, very, very long time. So if you decide that this is the next piece on your path and you decide to do the course 3 times in a row, that's actually 18 weeks of content. So I don't even like to talk about investment. It's really about exchange, you know, so I'll just add that piece here, which is, you know, I think often when we're going to purchase something, we're so conditioned to have this mindset of like, will it be worth it, right? If it's $500, what would I have to make in order for that to be worth it? And, you know, as I've said many times about this idea of energetic exchange, it's not what's in the material. So I promise you that there is enough there that you could have $5 million of exchange with the information that's in there. The question is, are you available for allowing a return, right? And what kind of return are you available for allowing? So, you know, this is not a game of perfect. Some of you might be like, I'm willing to get what I paid for, right? Because that was my mode for so often, right? So if I paid $500 or if I paid $5,000 for a class, I was going to get just what I paid for and nothing more, you know? So I'd be skeptical a lot of the class and I'd be, you know, arms crossed and a little disgruntled here and there. And then I'd finally settle in and get some nuggets, blah, 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 you know? Then I started to shift that. So it was like, can I invest in something and actually let myself be nourished by it so that this is the best money I ever spent? Yeah, I could totally do that. So I started to actually allow some reserve to come in, you know? And then, you know, I finally got to the point where it was like, okay, can I allow this exchange to return to me tenfold? And it did. You know, the highest investment I ever made in a class ended up returning, I mean, it'll return forever. It'll return 1,000-fold, right? And that was a $20,000 investment. So I don't even know if I can quantify how much that will return, you know? So feel that actually right now. And this is not for, it's hard to have this conversation because there's so much baggage around it. So this is not so that you will buy Soulful Money Medicine. I don't actually care if that happens, right? In a way, it would be a lot easier to have this conversation not having a portal open because your ego wants to attach to that and negate what I'm saying, right? So just imagine that it's not about that, like that you're not even going to go to the page, but just in this moment, see if you can feel what kind of an exchange you are available for in your own system. Right? Because it's not just about this. It's like everything. It's whatever you're available for. This is what you're getting out of your marriage. This is what you're getting out of your job. This is what you're getting out of your coaching practice if you're, you know, a solopreneur. So just feel, you know, does it feel expanded or does it feel contracted in your system? You know, you can try on different amounts too, right? So some of us might have some different levels of like, well, if I paid $100, I could let something come back to me, but like $500 would be too much or 5,000 would be too much. And some of us just have like our whole system is set up backward. So like there's nothing we could really put out and actually get something back. This is good to know about yourself, right? With no judgment. This is just like, okay, great. So when you feel that in your system, even if you don't know why it's there, this is the stuff that's going to need moved for you to be in harmony with your soul. Because your soul is infinite. Your soul knows that really there's a step even beyond exchange, which is it's all one, right? We're just love. There is no back and forth and the exchange slows it down. But between this point and that point, we have to walk this bridge of exchange, right? So this is how we slow the process and actually take a snapshot of where is our soul right now. Do you see? So money then just becomes a portal for us to take the temperature of the wellness of our soul. Yeah. And, if you're noticing a contraction, don't lament. There's no reason. We came here for this experience. We came here to get lost so that we could follow our own breadcrumbs and find our way back home. And here you are listening to this transmission. And so you got a breadcrumb, right? And then the question from here is, what will you do with it? What will you do with it? And so you might tune in and just notice, like, if you were to shaman your own soul, what might that feel like? It's totally fine if you're the crazy shaman who has no idea where she's going. I often shaman my soul in that way, Yeah. But to me, what it feels like is like when I step into that place, there's a sense of inertia. There's a sense of some certainty, like this is happening for me. And sometimes it's trembling. Sometimes it's trembling steps. Like, I'm going to do this and I feel like I'm going to puke, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because something in me knows that this is the next piece. This is the next piece. And, I'm always about high efficiency. So one of the things I love about us using money as the first portal into our soul conversation is that when we begin to flow with money, then we can resource our efforts, right? So not only are we having the soul conversation, but then we start to allow money to flow, which allows us to then make choices. We have more choices, more options. So we can call in, additional support for ourselves. We can get more free time. We can maybe make the leap out of the corporate job into the thing we really want to do, or whatever that looks like for you, So in my opinion, this is the best place to start. And even for me, even, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, this is still a conversation I come back to because it's such an easy portal into what else, every time we expand, even just today, like as we're opening this portal, it brings the gremlins up. It brings the gremlins up, like super expansive this morning and then crunchy around, details and like, what are we really saying? And do I really want to be launching this? And, is there a way to do this authentically and blah, blah, blah. Right. And so that invites me further into what's really true for my soul. Where am I attached? Right. And it's funny because like in the past, I would have been really attached to people buying this. And now there's because I'm feeling so soulful, there's a kind of a sneaky attachment to not having it come across as that, and again, like just like my journey, it's not about the money and it's not about the money. It's not about selling and it's not about selling, right? It's like there's this harmonic in the center where it's just truth. It's just oneness. It's just, this is who I am and I want to love you this way, right? That's where we are. That's where we are. So, a couple other things to say. In the past, people had asked, will I leave this open or can I buy it in the future because I still don't have the money? So I want to speak to that a couple ways. The first one is, we'll have it open. We're going to be actually enrolling for the next 3 weeks. And in this, for those who enroll in this 3 weeks, there actually are 2 live bonus calls that I'm doing. I'm also going to be energetically holding the portal right now. And there's the energetic updraft of the women who are already in the portal and the women who are now coming through with you. So there's definitely like some draft to catch by coming in now in this 3-week period. And also, so I'm going to be doing like a live question and answer call for this round, and also another live bonus call, which all of that's on the page. And then the final thing is, in the first round, I got inspired to gift 3 energy tools calls. So, we call them the big 3 energy tools. So there's an hour class on each one, but I teach you how to use grounding as an energetic tool, gathering your attention in the center of your head, and also allowing gold to come in. And so there's like 3 hours of bonus energy tools calls. And for those who come in this 3-week period, I'm offering that as just a free bonus as well. So there's lots of stuff in here. And I just really, what do I want? Do I want anything? I don't. I'm whole and complete. I want nothing from you. I want nothing from you. And my soul is loving you from this space of here, right? Here, of arrival, of completeness. And it's curious. Like, it's not even a wanting. It's not like I want that for you. Do I want that? Yeah, I guess I do. I do want that for you. That's what I want for you. I want your wholeness. I want nothing less than that. That's my mission. That is the kind of love that I carry, is planetary, humanitarian love, for our collective, for us actually doing this thing where we embody our souls and up-level the human DNA to its next level of evolution. That's what I'm here to do. And so I delight in whispering into your soul and lighting a fire when you need some stoking, and poking you just a little bit around the edges where you feel uncomfortable, or it would be easier to push your chair back and pull the covers up over your head. So I'm being me. And that's all the ways that I can love you. So with that, my beautiful sisters, I invite you to go have an activation, have an experience at Soulful Money Medicine, shaman your soul in whatever way that looks like. I'd love to hear from you actually in the tribe about what your soul shamaning is taking the form of in this week. So if you're not already in the tribe, you can find us there at facebook.com/groups/Wild Soul Medicine Radio Tribe. And if you need the page again for the course, it's soulfulmoneymedicine.com. So I'd love to hear from you. I look forward to dancing and playing with you as we evolve this conversation, even as we dance and play together and discover the ways that I feel like we're just scratching the surface of how this money portal can actually lead us ever closer to home. So until next time, sisters, I love you. Bye.
We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination, for God's sake. A revelation, for God's sake. An inspiration, for God's sake. Illumination, for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.